I'm a 32-year-old female and have been with my boyfriend, a 34-year-old male, for almost 7 years now. My sister, also a 34-year-old female, got married about a year ago to her long-term boyfriend, a 36-year-old male. Shortly after my sister got married, she became pregnant with my little nephew. About 3 months after he was born, my brother-in-law asked my boyfriend, who is a mechanic, to check his car. He happily agreed, ordered new parts, and it took about 3 hours to do the whole service and renew everything necessary. All went fine. They had fun chatting a bit, and we agreed to meet for coffee the Sunday afterwards. On Saturday, my sister called me to ask how much they owe my boyfriend for the work. I told her I would ask him and get back to her with a text saying that the total should be 50 euros. For comparison, if my brother-in-law would have gone to a car shop, he would have paid around 900 euros. A few minutes later, my sister called me, telling me that this amount is ridiculous and that her husband is fuming as he expected not to pay anything but for the parts. I'm super confused and tell her that the guys should talk directly to each other to figure this out. So we hang up. Me and my boyfriend then have time to get super pissed about their behavior. For the greater context, you need to know that my brother-in-law always made clear that he doesn't like my boyfriend, saying mean things about his blue-collar clothes, family, hairstyle, music taste, etc. My sister always made sure to tell me about those comments, forcing me to stand between the sides. So, I repeatedly asked her to stop this and accept that he is the man making me happy. Anyway, my boyfriend was willing to again swallow his pride, give up on the money, and talk like a normal family when visiting them and the baby the next day. The next morning arrives, and I'm texting my sister about what time we should come over. She just replied, "As long as this isn't sorted out, we should not visit them." This is when I lost it and started to cry, as I cannot understand why I'm being punished for this by not being allowed to see my little nephew, who I love to death and was looking forward to seeing all week. So, my boyfriend called my brother-in-law in my defense, telling him that this is unacceptable and that they don't have to get along, but there's no need to be mean to me about this. My brother-in-law just laughed it off. Then, my sister calls me, and I, filled with anger and frustration, tell her that she should know we don't care about money, but it's unfair to expect everything for free because we are family. When at any other occasion, they don't accept us being a couple, I tell her she shouldn't have let this get between me and her. I admit I called my brother-in-law an arrogant and snobbish a-hole, just when she started calling my life primitive. I hang up, and we've not spoken since. As you can imagine, there is quite a backstory, but that would be too much for one post. So far, regarding this situation itself, am I the a-hole? 150 euros for 3 hours of work plus diagnostics is nothing, especially if a shop would have charged 900 euros. OP needs to stand firm for those ungrateful people. They shouldn't ask people to work on their car if they can't afford it. He should sell his car and buy a bicycle if he can't afford to fix it and expect other people to do it for free. And now, let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Your brother-in-law will have car trouble again, and when that happens, he can pay your boyfriend the 900 euro shop rate for his previous trouble or never get family help again. Not the a-hole. I loathe people who look down on blue-collar folks until they're useful to them personally, and then they're right back to being a-holes once they've gotten what they want. Your brother-in-law can duck right off into the sun. Hope he enjoys overpaying at the car shop dealership next time, as his dick mobile needs work. Honey, you tell your boyfriend not to swallow his pride anymore. There's no reason to. I'm sorry your sister is being like this, but it's not worth your boyfriend's self-worth. She'll come around eventually when her goofball of a husband has to beg for help. Not the a-hole, a bit confused, though, why you haven't stood up for your boyfriend in the past when your brother-in-law has made remarks about him. Why did you let your sister keep telling you about those remarks? Why didn't you shut that down? Why did you stand between sides if you weren't actively defending your boyfriend and putting boundaries in place? Then, you did choose a side, your brother-in-law's. I'm 21 years old, male, and I have a little sister who is 18 years old and female. She got pregnant last year, and everyone was overjoyed when they heard the news. She has always been the golden child, and her needs were always put in front of my own. Today, she went into labor, and my mother, who is 41 years old and female, called me to tell me the news. I'm extremely excited for the new addition to our family and really can't wait to meet my niece. However, for the last 9 months, my sister and her boyfriend, who is 24 years old, have been spending every last cent of money they receive from family members to help with medical costs and clothes for the baby. Earlier today, I bought new brakes for my car and installed them. I've been saving specifically for this, and I have some money left over after I bought them. My father, who is 49 years old, told my mother I have some money left over. A few minutes ago, I received a call from my mother, demanding I send her my last money so that she can pay for my sister's medical expenses. I admit I got really angry. This is the money I worked for myself, and now they are demanding I send it. I've been ignoring their calls because I'm sick of my sister's irresponsibility. They had months to save, but they spent all their money on going out to places to eat, and her boyfriend is an alcoholic. I'm refusing to pay her medical bills, and my father is calling me insensitive and an a-hole for making my sister's day all about my issues. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You save that money for a purpose, and if there's any left over, it's your decision how to spend it. Next time, don't share anything about your finances with your family. Not the a-hole, unless you're the one that got her pregnant. You have no financial responsibility towards that child. What I would query is why no one sees an issue with a 24-year-old man getting a barely adult woman pregnant. Clearly, they were dating before she was 18, which means this adult had designs on a minor for quite some time. Your family sounds toxic, and I feel sorry for your sister. Not the a-hole. You don't need to pay her expenses. If she wanted to have a child, she had to be responsible for what comes with it and not expect anyone else to pay for her. Your family are a-holes for wanting to force you to pay for a child that is not yours. They can ask, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. When I was 14 or 15, my dad started dating the front desk lady at his work. It was apparently toxic from the start. He says he hated it, but and I know as adults it was bull. The lady had a 10-year-old son who was mad. This kid hated every woman but his mother. He was aggressive to me and wouldn't listen. I had tons of child experience by that point. I had practically raised my 5-year-old sister, and I had a newborn brother that my mother loved to foist on me. It was obvious to even a young teen that this little boy needed professional help. But the girlfriend was a self-proclaimed witch, and therefore, she would know if something like that was needed because she'd feel it. Super great environment to put a troubled child into. Thanks, Dad. So, summer rolls around, and Dad's girlfriend needs a babysitter. You know what? My dad felt pretty damn confident that I'd spend enough summers caring for my siblings, so I would be with him that summer, to get away from parentification. I would be caring for his girlfriend's child from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. for $1 a day. And on the weekends, I would help her do her art shows because it's so much fun. Did I get to make the art, which has literally been my thing since I first grabbed a crayon? Did I get to package the product? Did I make any money? No. I hauled her product, set it up, and sold it for free because it was fun. Eventually, she convinced my dad to read my diary. I never had another again and chose to go back to my mother's and take care of my siblings. Now, we bring in my eldest brother, who was about 12 at the time. They decided that he would babysit the angry 10-year-old because they were already friends, and they didn't want my brother to not have an incentive. So they paid him $10 an hour. I was furious, but not for too long, since by the end of the first week, the two boys were caught throwing rocks at semis, and my dad was almost charged with something or other. But he managed to somehow smooth things over. I don't speak with anyone from my family and haven't in years, but I do have my own kids. They will learn that their time and effort has value, that they have value as human beings. It is their right to not be involved in the toxicity of grown-up relationships. They are both worthy in my eyes, and there are no favorites between my children. Don't undervalue children just because they haven't completed growing up yet. They're humans. They will remember. They deserve respect. Good on you for taking the best lessons from this horrible experience and making sure to be a better parent than you had. I live with my boyfriend of 3 years, his parents, and his sister. His parents both had full-time jobs until his mom's full-time job was cut back to on-call, so they made significantly less money than before. I offered multiple times to help them, but they always told me no, they didn't need any monetary help. No matter what bills they knew they couldn't pay, they held their stance and never took any money I offered. Well, his dad has a Ford Expedition that he let me use. I offered to pay the insurance, the registration, and the new tires that the car needed, and he always told me no. In November of last year, he offered to sell it to me. The price we agreed on was $2,500. So every single payday since November, I gave him almost $250 to pay off the car. On Tuesday, I came home from Target and all of a sudden a tow truck pulls up. Not thinking anything, I went inside while both his parents and his sister rushed out. The tow truck hooked up to my truck and took it away. What his dad didn't tell me was he took out an auto title loan on the car and didn't pay it, so it was taken away. No explanation to me or anything. I gave this man $2,000, and they took away the car. He essentially sold me a car that he didn't have the title for. My boyfriend had no clue whatsoever, so I can't be angry at him. But I have no idea what to do. What angers me is that he took my money knowingly and didn't pay the loan. They gave him a grace period of 2 weeks, and he did nothing and told me nothing. He spent all the money on other bills and upgrades for him, his wife, and his daughter's iPhones. My boyfriend's sister is 20 years old and has never had a job. And now I'm the one who is screwed. I have no car, while his dad and his mom get to keep both of their cars. I have 2 jobs, and my boyfriend works full-time. His parents have offered me rides, but rides don't do anything for me. His dad told me he'd give me my money back, but he doesn't know when. I'm angry. I'm upset. His dad won't even talk to me. He won't even look me in the face. He avoids me at all costs and uses my boyfriend as a messenger. I keep asking when I will get my money back, and my boyfriend doesn't know. He keeps saying his dad needs to borrow it from someone. I know I can't be mad at my boyfriend because he truly didn't know. But I think this stuff is ridiculous. His dad had 10 days to come up with $3,000 to get the truck out of the lot. He expected me to help him, but I refused to give him another cent. So, on March 23rd, if the car isn't taken out, it's being auctioned. His dad wants to get the truck out, but all I want is my money back. What do I do? My parents live across the city, and they want to know why all of a sudden I have no car if I paid for it. I don't want to get them involved because my mom is a hothead, but if I have to, I will. His dad and I had a verbal agreement, but I have documentation of every single time I've given his dad money. I don't want to do anything that will cost me my relationship with my boyfriend because I love him more than anything. But I can't trust his family after this. Is there anything I can do? Anything I can say? I want my $2,000 back. I work 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., I get less than 6 hours of sleep a night, and I work hard for that money. $2,000 isn't a lot of money to some, but it is to me. The rest of it is in my savings because my boyfriend and I wanted to get our own place. But now I'm going to have to use it for a new car. I feel ducking stupid, but I feel like I should say something. Should I go to small claims court? It sucks, I know, but your boyfriend's dad is not a good person, and he's never voluntarily going to give you back your money. He's going to count on you valuing your relationship with your boyfriend more than your hard-earned money. If your relationship is strong and your boyfriend is a good guy, he'll have your back. I'm sorry. It really sucks when someone you trust takes advantage of you. My boyfriend is a good guy. We had a talk on Thursday, and I broke down in tears, asking him to think about my perspective. I had to ask my coworker for a ride home from my first job because I didn't know how I was getting home or to my second one. I gave his dad almost 4 of my entire paychecks, and they are gone along with the car. His dad won't face me. They act like I'm the bad guy. They offer me rides, but they make it sound like it's such a chore for them. I didn't do anything wrong. I know he would stand by me because I told them that they ducked me over, but at the same time, I live in their house. They've never asked me for rent and have never accepted money when I offered them. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Okay, what he did really sucks, but in the grand scheme of things, $2,000 is not a huge amount of money. How long have you been living in their house, rent and utility free? I'm just not sure you'd have a case to take him to small claims court, or if it would even be worth your time, since it will definitely strain your relationship with your boyfriend. I'm sure this is an unpopular opinion, but I would chalk up the $2,000 lost as your rent for living at the house and using the car, and get the hell out of there. Don't give his parents any more money. Update in 2 weeks. It'll be 2 months since the car was taken away the day before it was to be auctioned. My boyfriend's dad scraped up $3,000, plus $500 in storage and towing fees from who knows where, and when to get the truck out. My boyfriend refused to let me use it because he was furious with his parents, and a week later, I bought myself a new car. His parents took away the keys to the truck from me and gifted it to his sister, who has no job, license, or permit. So, since she can't drive it, it's been sitting in the driveway for almost 2 months now, untouched. Now it's been almost 2 months, and his dad hasn't given me my money back. I have asked for it every Friday since the 20th of March, with no avail. His dad said he would be able to get it to me a week after, but that same Friday, his mom's family came to town. They spent all the money they were going to give me on taking out their family and going to gamble instead. We live in Las Vegas. I told them I needed it to pay for my registration since my hours at my second job got cut back. I was in the hospital with pneumonia, and they told me they didn't have anything to give me because it was all going towards their bills. 2 days later, the internet, Wi-Fi, and TV service got shut off, and my boyfriend's phone got turned off. He's on the family line because his dad didn't pay the bills. They have ignored me and have given me excuses until I blew up at them this last Friday. I told them that they stole $2,000 from me, and I wasn't going to let it go. I gave his dad a deadline until this Friday to give me back every cent that I gave him, or else I would take him to small claims court. My boyfriend told me he stands behind me, and he is disgusted that his parents did this to me. The fact that they have avoided me at all costs, even though we live under the same roof, is unacceptable. His parents won't kick me out because my boyfriend said if they did, he would never speak to them again. But we moved into our own place on May 23rd, and I told them that I would not be leaving this house unless I got my money back. So let's see what happens this Friday. I have a demand letter already written and notarized from 2006. My old roommate, who I also dated on and off, gave me a collection of coins that he inherited from his grandmother. I never really had an interest in them, but I kept them anyway without thinking about it. After he moved away, I felt this was an act of love on his part, and I also liked having something that reminded me of him. Fast forward to 2012, I came across them while moving and found them again. I reached out to him about them, and he showed no interest in them. He told me to keep them. I told him that maybe they were worth money, and he still declined. This happened a few years later, during another move. I just felt weird having them because they were old, and I knew they were inherited. I also knew nothing about them. Fast forward to today, I came across them again, and my husband sees them for the first time. He is floored and starts freaking out. He asked me where these coins came from. His father collected coins, and he told me that I'm easily sitting on over $1 million. I didn't believe him, but I looked myself and saw that some of these coins were extremely rare, and yes, definitely extremely valuable. I've had kept these coins for 15 years now, and have collected an appreciation for them over all these years. However, I feel like if my ex knew the value, he would want them back immediately, regardless of any verbal agreement. Are these mine to do what I please? Or are these all his? Do I have any right to these at all? I just want to do the right thing, but I also feel in a way that these are mine too. All communication with him has been verbal. I'd love some legal and moral advice here. Thank you. It's very unlikely that you are sitting on $1 million worth of rare coins. In fact, you'd have no way to know unless the coins are graded already by PCGS and GC, and you have access to gray sheets or auction records. But here are some steps to find out. Do not clean or remove the coins in any way from the packaging they are in. Take the coins to a dealer for an insurance estimate. Do not sell the coins to said dealer. Anything worth money should be graded by NGC or PCGS. Don't consider any other grading services at all. Take the coins to Heritage or one of the other major auction houses to sell if you really have value. Don't pay more than 7 to 10% seller's fees. A gift is complete when given with the intent to change ownership and subsequently accepted with the intent to take ownership. So, if he told you to keep them, that's true, then they're yours. There would only be an issue of him being wrong, ill-informed about the value if he didn't know their value, and you did at the time he gave them to you. That still wouldn't change their status as a gift, but you not knowing their true value immediately eliminates other possible attacks, like undue influence or claims that you con him out of them. I say that mostly for your benefit. If you know you didn't rip him off, then take them for what they are and do what makes you feel good. That might include tracking him down and helping him, like a character in a Dickens novel, or it might not. We can't judge,